Hi, namaste. It's Matt from Gynecalistics, where we learn together and we should grow together. Today, I'm going to talk about 10 points about your spiritual journey. I'll see you soon. So hi and welcome back. So today I just want to cover a few points about a spiritual journey. So what I thought about, this is such a vast topic, I thought I'd make it into 10 points if I can, and then when I cover those 10 points, I'd add a little bit on. So just before I get started, could you like, share and subscribe? Just got to keep these motions going in order to develop the channel and in order to put out really good, strong content. So let me just start. These points are kind of like about my journey and what you may be facing as well when you're on your spiritual journey. And if you are halfway through, or if you don't know how to start it, I'm hoping these can help you to find your first step in the beautiful world of spiritual development. So I've got my notes and I'm ready to start. So let's start with the first point. How do you know if you're on your spiritual journey? First thing is, you have started it. If you're here and you're listening to this video, you are on your journey. That means when you're being born is when your journey begins. Now, there's a saying, we are a spiritual being having human existence. Now, this is so true. It's when we start thinking that we as people are different from being spiritual. We are a spiritual being first and foremost. That's how we develop. So everything we are doing is developing in our spiritual self. The difference is, what I think people misconstrued about that statement is that, do they have a calling? You know the saying, many are called but they're chosen a few. And I think the point should be, how do you know you've been chosen on your spiritual journey or for a spiritual journey? Have you been called to serve along your spiritual journey to help the planet be self-aware? Now, there's many points that you may be going through that helps you along your journey, or to make you realize that you are on your spiritual journey. Some of the points is that there may be massive shifts, i.e. you might not feel that you fit in. You may feel that you have a calling, but you don't know what it is. That's the part of trying to work out what your journey is about. You may start developing your intellect, have a keen interest in spirituality, but not sure where to go, what direction to go in. There's many paths. The best thing I can explain and say about how do you know if you're on your spiritual journey is if that you are in a state of where you want to learn and you want to grow. That's the important part of what your journey is about. So the minute you have those aspects of your journey and your direction, those are the key points that you need to really look at, whether you are moving in the right direction of your calling. That's the important part. Are you moving in the direction of your calling? Now, if you are in the right direction of your calling, you would know, because there'll be certain things changing for you. Now, when I got my calling, I went through a period of that I was really being born a Catholic, being born into a Catholic family, be it my dad was quite spiritual. He used to be doing spells. He used to sometimes meditate. But I felt like there was something more to my life than just being either Catholic or just meditating and things like that. There is a difference, and I've been called to serve and to serve the Creator. Now, there's nothing wrong. I believe in every form of spiritual beliefs is a calling. So whether you are Catholic, Muslim, or Sikh, or spiritual, or New Age, or if you're Wiccan, there's different paths you walk in order to light. And again, that goes upon your own individual beliefs. Some people serve in many of those and want to develop themselves in different schools of spirituality thought. There's nothing wrong with that. Remember, this is about your connection with the Creator and about yourself becoming self-aware of your own consciousness. And once you learn to understand who you are is when you can get closer to the ultimate power, which is the universe, which is God. And at the moment, if you're limiting yourself because other people are saying that this is the only way you can go, but you don't feel that's right, then you need to turn around and really look at yourself and find out what's right for you, not what's right for others. So just look at it. And that's not saying you have to be rude about it. You just have to be sincere about your own direction, because they've got their own directions. Like I always say to everyone I work with, that, and I believe in myself, that when I work with people, I just put them, I'm like a spiritual engineer. I put them back in connection with the Almighty, with the Creator. That's my connection. What you do moving forward is down to you. The other point is, well, I can only take you to that door, and it's down for you to walk through, but I would always be there for you to, if you get lost or not sure what way you're going, then you can call upon me and I'm there to guide. And many people get a bit nervous, and that's where you hold on to your spiritual mentor. And sometimes it can work in a negative point, and some spiritual mentors hold on to their pupils and should allow them to move on and make those mistakes, but only guide them through the mistakes and support them with the backlash of the mistakes. Point 2, how do other people react? Now, it can work in many ways, and again, this is about you, not about them. And for me, a lot of people moved away from me. A lot of people stayed. Actually, more moved away than stayed. But when people go, God brings people in. It's kind of like a cleansing. So when you start cleansing those ones who are not right for you where you are, let's put it this way. Say if you are climbing up the stairs and others are climbing with you. Now, you may work out how to climb the stairs quicker than others. Now, as you climb the stairs quicker, do you wait for the others to catch up with you, or do you just keep going at your own pace? And it's not a limitations upon the people who can't climb the stairs as quick as you. It's just for the fact is that you have found your calling, and it's down, you know how to move up the stairs quicker than anybody else. So that's kind of roughly how it works. And I like to use the stepping stone or the stairs as a guide, because that's pretty much how it works and your development. And again, you may excel in different things to others. A lot of people will try and hold you back and try and say that what you're seeing is incorrect. That's when you need to be true to yourself. And I keep saying you need to look at yourself and work on yourself. Really keep self-disciplined. That is key. Good diet is key. I'll talk about the diet later on, but good diet is important. Exercise and keeping yourself trim and aware and keeping the mind going is going to help you to make right, positive decisions. Because remember, sometimes people don't like other people growing. I call it growing and showing, because when you grow, you show your true self, and others don't like that. But sometimes they do. Sometimes they want to learn from you, and you have those for a season, and that's another subject. But you keep growing and you keep shining. Second point is, what shifts within me? So many things are going to shift. Your first shift could be for the fact is that you begin to start changing the way you eat. You could be having a infinity or a feeling about learning tarot cards or learning Reiki or learning Kundalini. There's many different paths in your spiritual awakening. And no spiritual awakening, again, is so key. And that goes back to meditation. And it's key that you meditate as well, because it helps you balance your mind and balance who you are. And while you're doing these changes and while you're finding out what you're about, is when other things or other spiritual developments or other spiritual energies can come into you if you keep your mind, body and spirit balanced. And again, your shift, everybody will notice your shift, because they say you've changed, and you will change. You will not stay in um, the same state of mind or being as if you're moving forward spiritually. And it's like going on a journey on a boat. Your boat, if it needs to go to another continent, it won't stay at the same harbour. It would need to leave the port. And if others want to leave the port with you, that's their own lookout in a way. It's down to you to move forward, for you to make that journey, for you to move forward. So point for how do I know a start? Your start will be that you won't give a damn, and you just do it. And that's so important, and you need to just hold on to that. And sometimes it's a lonely path, and sometimes you may feel you're walking in like the sand. When you've heard many times, I use this analogy. You have the sand, then you've got 2 footprints in the sand, and then when it gets hard, you get 1, and then you can see 2 again when it gets good. And that's when things are getting bad, that's when God's carrying you. But the reality is like sometimes you need to just keep trusting. My bit of advice, and I say this to people, because people forever telling me, how the hell do you still say balance and stay sane, and don't let things get to you, like lockdown and all these other bits and pieces, and all what people think about you, even when you have seen, you do predictions and the people don't see what you see or unsure. It goes back to trust and belief, not ego. It goes back to trust in you, believing in yourself, and believing, if you've got guides, you believe in them. I believe in my collective, because so much I've done over the 30 years I've been doing this, especially in the last 15 to 20 years, that things have really ramped up, and I've really trust them without fail. And I feel this where some people step back and get a bit of afraid, because things change when you are changing, and with your other guys move away and move in. You don't have to always work with certain guys. It may be for the fact is that it's not quite ready. But for me, I've had 15 to 20 guys, and then I've had 2, then I've had 5, then I had 7. And then what I've done, I'll just call it the collective. And with the collective, they all come together at whatever time they need. So I could call upon them. They just make themselves known. And then they go, I'm Chief, I'm Mateos, I'm Gabriel, Raphael, I'm whoever comes in, or I'm Haniel. All these different energies will step in when I need them, when I call upon them. And don't necessarily I call upon a particular energy when I start my spiritual journey. It's just I call upon the collective, and the collective step forward and send the right representative in order to help me do God's work. And that's what you're doing. You're doing God's work. So remember that. Point 5, can you be spiritual and materialistic? Yeah, I believe you can. Now, let me define materialistic first of all. Now, materialistic is, I think, an ego state. And if you're materialistic and you put everything you do towards making money, then you're not going to develop. Let me re-say that again. If your primary focus is on making money out of spirituality, you will not move forward. You stay stuck. You will attract negative people. Like attracts like. If you want a better life and you want to live in a nice house, drive a nice car, and so on and so forth, and your intention and your spiritual awareness is on that focus, that's when God will give that to you. That's when you will attract those positive things. And I honestly believe, and this is through experience, that you can work in corporate and still be spiritual. So you can still, like I've done it, and for about 4 years, I thought you can do both, don't work, and they do. And I'm living evidence of that, because I worked in corporate, making great things happen, shifting things and developing things. And I've been proud of what I've achieved over the period of time, even when others around me did not believe or see what I was doing. So, and again, and I've got a friend who's a healer, but he's a scientist, and it works. And marrying them together. It's what you're, again, it goes back to intention. And I always put my beliefs first. So duty first, self second. I love that line. So I put my spiritual duties first above everything else, and everything else falls for me, because my intentions are there, are real, and because my intentions are is to be God. Some of my prayers when I go to sleep in the morning, when I wake up in the morning, is whatever is right for me. Oh Lord, please can you send it in order to honor you. That is, I think, one of the most powerful prayers. And above all, saying prayers for other people, but those things, let me be the better version of me for the better version of you, in order for me to really shine for you, so them to see the greatness in him. Next point, how do I know my spiritual purpose? That is such a good one. Your spiritual purpose is sometimes just to be spiritual. I know you're a spiritual being, but you doing an action. So you won't know your spiritual purpose until you know your gift. When you know your gift is when you become good at it. For example, you may be really good healer. So if you get a lot of energies in your hands, then you're hands-on healer. So there's many forms of healing. There's vocal healing, there's hand healing, and there's mind's eye healing. So there's many other ways as well, but some people are more prominent with the hands, so do Reiki, do spiritual healing, and then some do yoga, and that's through physical healing. So they would instinctively know that this person needs this form of exercise or yoga routine in order for them to better themselves, mind, body, and spirit. Some people will be able to motivate through voice with a throat chakra. The way of getting that or working out what you are, when you meditate and you do a full body manifestation or full body scan, see what shines stronger for you. See what part of your chakras or your aura, mainly your chakras, shine strongest. If it's your hands, if it's your heart, then you know that your heart's in it. But if it's your throat and so on, that will tell you roughly what you are. And again, some people are certain spirituality for a season and then they move on to do others. So you could be a healer, then go on to be a motivational speaker. So this is about your expansion of your own consciousness. So point 7, is when should I start? You start the day you're born, as I said, you start. So I can't say really more about that. I'm just reading some of the things that people have sent me, or emailed me, or text me, and have asked me about certain things. So when you start is when you're born. When you start your calling is when you get an alignment with you. So my first advice would be do some self-cleansing. Drink water and lime if you can, if you like lime or lemon, but drink water in order to cleanse your system like a detox. And then start really meditating and start looking at your chakras, balancing your chakras. And then next point is to ask the creator or the universe what your calling is, and then they will show it to you, and be aware of what they give you and be true to that, because you need to trust in what you see and what you feel. A balanced diet. Yes, point 8 is a balanced diet. Yes, you need a balanced diet, and that means that if you are vegan or vegetarian or a meat eater, then you exercise, you keep yourself well hydrated, you go for your regular walks, and all the rest of it. You need to keep yourself active, because you're like a antennae, and if the antennae is on a steeple and you're not doing much to look after yourself, it's like having cobwebs all over you. Then the antenna is not going to receive the messages very clear. So the more it's used and the more you communicate, some of the things, if you've got guides, speak to them on a daily basis. Just communicate, just keep communicating, and that way you will develop your own connection. And once you make that connection and you start growing, then you start you'll be able to pick up all the important stuff while you're here. And they will tell you sometimes it could take months, sometimes even years, but it's important that you keep the development growing with your guides. So point 9 is meditation. Meditation is so important. So as I said, I would advise at least once a week is do cleansing and chakra meditation to balance your chakras, and any other meditation that needs to move out any other access stuff that may come up. If you don't do those, you can just do every day or every other day. If you just do a 5 minute or 10 minute or even 2 minutes, or no, between 3 and 5 minute meditation, just clearing the mind. That means you don't have to focus on achieving anything, just balancing yourself, just focus on nothingness, just your breathing, your voice, your in and out, how you breathe. Just follow that, just listen to that, because that will show you about you, believe it or not. That will start unpicking those bits and pieces which you are nervous about. Point 10, and my final one, is how long will it take? And would I need to step back? Sometimes you need to step back and let God guide you. So many people I've seen over the period of times, and why it's taking so long, they've tried to take control of their own development and just go on every course under the sun, or they are jumping before they can run, or jump before they can walk, and things like that, and they've just taken on too much. Or they are, when you buy a car and then you love the car and you want to drive everywhere, blah blah blah, so on and so forth, then you realize you get used to it. I always say to people, when you realize you're spiritual, enjoy that moment. Just sit for a minute, just stop for a minute, and just stay in that state of oneness, and look at where you're at and who you are. Look at what's around you. Other big point is have gratitude, because when you are in that state of oneness and you're there and you're quiet and you're just reflecting on self, all this other stuff would just start to manifest and come out of it. And then you will get the little bits of information you need about your next step, your next dimension, your next step, the next step, or the next footprint in the sand, in order for you to move forward. Because I let go and I let God, and many people, it really frustrates some people around me sometimes, because they think I'm not doing anything, and it's not that. I'm doing my YouTube stuff a lot, and I'm doing a lot of content, and I'm reading and I'm writing, and I'm putting the content out, and then, but when that's kind of, I will pause for a while, say about a week, and then I would meditate. But every day I'm meditating, I'm always connecting with God. And then because I'm doing his work, he's bringing in like either readings or healings and things like that, and he's bringing the work towards me. But in that sense, I'm developing myself as well, and I'm helping develop others. From that, my pact with him, I would like to go out and teach more. I'd like to go and speak more, and I'm doing that now. I'm doing it, and it's growing. So it comes in different ways. So if you want to be a motivational speaker, for example, you may have to start doing YouTube stuff. You may have to start talking to small groups around you. But you can't be like, I'll be a motivational speaker with no experience and go stand in front of TED Talks. It's just may not just happen. And if it does, bang on fire, wicked. But the reality is, walk before you can run. So I hope that helps. Please like, share and subscribe. Comments below if there's anything you want me to cover, or you're not sure about what certain things just meant. But this is about your journey, and 10 points of your spiritual journey and mine, and a lot of it comes from spirit. So trust, believe, and receive, and have gratitude. And I'll see you in the next time. Namaste.